So now we will discuss emotion. So before discussing the nature of emotion or the concept of emotion, again let me give you some instances. Suppose someone is very happy, her exam result is very good, she has topped the class. So she is very happy because of her good result. Or someone failed to score uh, as much as he expected, so the person is feeling sad. Some people are maybe jealous because of their friends' achievement. So here we can see many emotions like anger, sad, anger, sadness, happy. So these are different kind of emotions. So now question is, what is emotion? So now we'll discuss the nature and concept of emotion. Emotion means the way we feel after a particular behavior or after a particular incident or after facing something, experiencing something, the way we feel. Like after our achievement, we feel happy. Or if we fail to achieve something, we feel upset or we feel frustrated. So these are all emotion. Emotion vary from one person to another. Means we all don't experience emotion. We all don't experience emotion in the same way. Maybe our same situation may evoke anger to a one person or maybe sadness to another person. Or the way people express their emotion, the way people react when they are emotionally aroused also differ. Emotion include the word both feeling and mood. Feeling include the pleasure and pain dimension of emotion, whereas mood is the present state of the individual. Generally, mood the intensity is less when we use in case of mood the intensity is less. Now we'll discuss basic emotion. Basic emotion means these are the pure emotion. These emotions are not mixture of any other emotion. And other apart from this basic emotion, all other emotions are mixture of basic emotion. So Ekman proposed six basic emotion. They are happiness, sadness, anger, fear, surprise, and disgust. So these are pure emotion. They are not mixture of anything. Izard proposed 10 basic emotion. These are the 10 basic emotion proposed by Izard. They are joy, surprise, anger, disgust, contempt, fear, shame, guilt, interest, and excitement. Plutchik proposed a wheel of basic emotions. Here, Plutchik proposed four pair of opposite emotions. So, if we see this wheel, these emotions are opposite emotion like joy and sadness, the first pair of opposite emotion. Then anger and fear, anticipation and surprise, disgust and acceptance. So, according to Plutchik, these are eight basic emotion, and they are eight. They are this four pair of opposite emotion. Now, emotion vary from each other in terms of intensity. I mean, sometimes the emotion may be very intense, or it may be the intensity may be low. Like euphoria, in case of euphoria, it is an intense happiness, and in case of happiness, the intensity is low. Emotion also vary in terms of quality. Means many different types of emotions are there, like happiness, sadness. So they vary in terms of quality. Uh, Now, the subjective factors and the situational factors have effect on emotion. So, how we are going to experience the emotion, how we are going to express the emotion, are determined by these subjective and situational factors. So, subject factors like gender, personality, psychopathology determines our emotional experience. So, gender means society. In society, there are beliefs that men and female women they are expected to show some emotion, and they are not expected to show some emotion. So, the in this way, people express their emotion. Like in society, it is expected that male role is associated with competitiveness. So, male are supposed to can show anger, high intensity and frequent anger. On the other hand, women's are much more. Women's role are defined as affiliation and caring. So they are not supposed to show anger. So our culture, our society determine which emotions we are expected to express and which emotion we are not. Similarly, personality of the individual also determines emotion. Like people who are neurotic, they show anxiety, high level of anxiety, tension. On the other hand, people who are emotionally stable, they can control their emotions. Psychopathology also determines emotion. In many psychopathology, person are not able to express their emotion appropriately or in a socially acceptable way. So these are the factors to determine the experience of emotion. Now we'll discuss physiological basis of emotion. So physiological basis of emotion means the bodily changes when that we experience when we are emotionally aroused. Also, the role of different hormones, neurotransmitters, brain nervous systems in emotion. So when we experience emotion, we experience different kind of physiological changes, like our heartbeat may increase, perspiration increase, we may tremble. So these are the physiological reaction when we experience emotion. Different parts of brain like thalamus, hypothalamus, limbic system, cerebral cortex play a very important role in experiencing different kind of emotion. So thalamus, which is responsible for producing fear, anxiety, autonomic reactions. Hypothalamus, they help to regulate the emotion, to help to maintain the balance, help to control the autonomic activities, and it secrete many control the secretion of hormones from the glands which are needed during emotional reaction. Limbic system help to control emotion and help to form memories. Emotional memories means memory of different events which evoke emotion in us. Cerebral cortex also play important role. Cerebral cortex has two parts, left and right. Left cerebral cortex is associated with positive emotion, and right cerebral cortex is associated with negative emotion. Now, to explain physiological basis of emotion, I will discuss two theories. The first theory was given by James and Lang. This is theory is known as James Lang theory of emotion. James and Lang, they gave this theory separately, but they both of them explain the emotional reaction the same way. According to this theory, whenever there is a stimulus, the stimulus evokes some physiological changes, and we perceive the physiological changes. And after perceiving the physiological changes, we experience the emotion. So first the changes is there, then we perceive the changes, and then we experience the emotion. So let me explain it with an example. Suppose I witness one accident. So the particular event creates some physiological changes within my body. Like it may increase my heartbeat. I can feel that my heartbeat is increasing. I can feel that there's an increase, my there's a sweating, heartbeat increase. I can feel trembling. So all of these physiological changes, then I will perceive the physiological changes, and from this perception, I will I will know that I am experiencing the emotion fear. So in this way, first we perceive the physiological changes and then we experience the emotion. This is the James Lang theory. Next, the second theory given by Bird, according to them, the perception of physiological changes and the leveling of emotion, both of them subjective experience of emotion occur simultaneously. So it is a bit different from James Lang theory. In James Lang theory, first we perceive the physiological changes and then we subjectively experience the emotion. But in Bird theory, the physiological changes, perception of physiological changes, and subjective experience of emotion occur simultaneously. So here again, this is stimulus. The stimulus sends signal to the thalamus, and then thalamus sends signal to the sympathetic nervous system, which help bring physiological changes and help us to perceive the physiological changes. And thalamus simultaneously sends signal to cerebral cortex. Cerebral cortex is responsible for the subjective experience of emotion. So these two occurs at the same time, at the simultaneously. Let me explain it with an example. Suppose again I am giving you that accident example. Suppose I witness one accident, so the stimulus will send signal to the thalamus, and there will be thalamus will send signal to both sympathetic nervous system and cerebral cortex. In sympathetic nervous system, I will perceive the physiological changes, and in cerebral cortex may help me to experience the emotion. Subjective help me will develop my subjective experience of the emotion, that is fear. So according to Bird theory, the physiological perception of physiological changes and subjective experience of emotion occur simultaneously. So what is the role of autonomic nervous system in emotion? Autonomic nervous system play a very important role in emotion. Autonomic nervous system has two parts, sympathetic and parasympathetic. These two systems are complementary to each other. So they complete each other process. Sympathetic nervous system activates when we are aroused, when we are in an arousal state, and it prepares the body to either face the situation or to escape from the situation. So for that, we need some kind of energy. We need some kind of energy to either to face the situation or to escape from the situation. So sympathetic nervous system help us to cope, deal with the stressful situation. On the other hand, parasympathetic nervous system activates when we are in a resting phase. It helps body to calm down. It helps to conserve and restore our energy and help us to be in a normal state. So in this way, we can see that sympathetic nervous system, parasympathetic nervous system are complementary to each other. Now we'll discuss a thing that is called lie detection. Lie detectors are usually used to indicate whether the person is telling truth or if the person is lying. In case of criminal proceeding, the major concept of lie detector is to measure the physiological changes like increased blood pressure, heart rate, breathing rate when the person is giving any answers or telling something. From the physiological changes, whether the person is lying or whether the person is telling truth, that is determined. So first, some basic neutral questions are asked to determine the base level, and then the actual question, which the person wants to know. That is which the person actual question is asked from the individual actual question, and from the person answers, the polygraph record the physiological changes, and from that it can be inferred that whether the person is telling truth or not. Next, we'll discuss cognitive basis of emotion. So far, we have discussed physiological basis. Physiological basis of emotion actually perceive emotion, physiological changes of emotion. But according to many psychologists, emotion also involve cognition. Cognition means our perception, our memory, our interpretation. So how we are interpreting the situation, how we are perceiving the situation also play a very important role in determining our emotion. Also memories about events also determine our emotion. जैसे कि अगर हम लोग को कुछ अच्छा चीज याद है पास्ट सिचुएशन का पास्ट लाइफ सॉरी अच्छा चीज याद है पुराना मेमोरीज याद है जो हम लोग को हम लोग बहुत खुश हो जाते हैं अगर कुछ सैड मेमोरीज याद है तो हम लोग को फिर से वो जो सैड एक्सपीरियंस था वो फिर से वो आ जाता है सो मेमोरीज आल्सो डिटरमाइन अवर इमोशन सो we'll discuss Catcher-Singer theory to explain the cognitive basis of emotion. According to Catcher and Singer, when there is an external stimulus that arouse some kind of physiological activities. So, in that moment, if we interpret the situation, the way we are interpreting the situation determine our emotion. So, if I am aroused and I interpret the situation positively, then I may experience happiness. But if I am aroused and I am interpret the situation negatively, then I may experience sadness. So, Sketcher and Singer, they conducted experiment to support their theory. Here, the subject, when they were, they are in a high arousal state, the two group of subjects, both of them were in high arousal state. So one group of subject, they saw other who are behaving aggressively in an angry manner, and another second group of subject, they saw other who are in a happy mood, behaving in a euphoric manner. So the group who saw that people are behaving in an angry way, they interpret the situation negatively, and the group who saw people who are behaving in a euphoric manner, they interpret the situation in a positive way. So the physiological response are not only the indicate our emotion, but the way we are interpreting the situation when we are in a aroused state determine our emotion.